All right, hello everyone. We have a few of us that are joined tonight. Otherwise, the rest of you get to watch this lovely video of all of us talking. And then we're going to share the screen here. So that's the first thing I'm going to do with you. And can everybody see my screen?
Wow.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? There we go.
Okay. Some maybe I'm delayed, just depending on how fast your internet is. All right, so you've all seen this page, and I will change the 1016 so you are not going to be on a Zoom during fall break. So I'll probably change maybe a few of the due dates too, because I think I had it arranged with that too. So be on the lookout for a few different changes there. I read evidently the wrong schedule, probably last year's schedule, so that was my fault. All right, so I'm just going to click on assignments because I think this could be the starting point, just so you can kind of see a couple of the assignments that you have that are going to be basically due throughout the semester. And none of these are due anytime soon. And so some of you may wait till the last minute. Others may be a little bit faster to this, but at the same time, just kind of be aware that this is what's happening. So again, the cover letter, resume, and the Praxis 2 prep will be a different time frame, and I'm just going to bring up my calendar here fast, and I'm going to tell you when those are going to be due. So fall break is here. All right, sorry to tell you, but your stuff is going to be due then on we're going to have our meeting on the 9th, October 9th. Okay, so put that on your calendar, and I will make the change there. So on Columbus Day, we have class on Columbus Day, don't we?
I think so.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we do. I think it's just the banks that are closed. So these dates will be changed, so it'll be a little bit earlier. But what I'm going to go through first is this Praxis 2 prep, and each of you, if you haven't looked yet, each of you have been put into partners, and you're going to be working with that partner to develop questions that relate to the praxis. And there's a variety of different questions available already that are pre-made that you can find in the module that I'll show you in just a little bit, or you can make up your own. But at the same time, I would strongly encourage you to look at the praxis prep exam just to get an idea of how they're going to kind of word things, because they don't just come out and ask you complete items except for like teaching styles or the fundamental movement patterns. I tried to divide it up as evenly as I could with the topics. So if you really hate your topic, talk to some other group, and I guess if they're willing to change, you can change that. And then what you're going to do, so you can decide, you're going to each have 50 questions, and you might think that's a lot, but at the same time, there is a lot of things covered here. So it's basically your last 4 to 6 years, depending on how long you've been here, of material that is going to be covered in this test. And so that's why I'm saying 50 questions for each of them. We might have a little overlap in a few questions, but that's okay. Then it'll let you practice. So if you want to just divide it up, okay, I'm going to do 25, you do 25, and you and your partner just make sure that you don't overlap. That's fine too, however you want to do it. So then you're going to click on this Google Drive, and you're going to have access to this. And my computer wants to be slow. And each of these are Excel files. So Sage and Luke, I'm going to use yours as an example. And the reason you have to do it a certain way is because then these are all going to go into Quizlet. It's an online way to have kind of basically flashcards. And so then you can practice with all the different questions and answers on your own, kind of like they're just basically made out of flashcards when you do it this way. So you're going to put your answer first, and then you have to have that comma. The comma is the big thing. And then you have your question, or the question after, and so it's in the second box. So you're just going to have 50 questions straight down, basically answer, question. Okay, any questions on that? All right, it's pretty straightforward, but I just wanted to make sure that I showed you that assignment. I'm going to go to the modules, and instead of making it like module 1, module 2, what I've done is done like, for instance, Praxis 2 preparation, then the cover letter. So they're divided up that way. So you're going to go into this Praxis 2 preparation, and there's some materials there. And the materials that I have, again, will have some starter questions. And I'm trying to upload the rest of this, but basically this is the item that is at the library. So you can grab it from there too. But I'd also like you to try and see if you can grab some other questions from other locations, just so we have different questions from different people. But if you, I'm just trying to get this up so you can see one of them. All right, so it really breaks it down exactly what I'm talking about. Trying to go, and this is going to be a good study guide because, like, for instance, like the fundamental movement patterns, it has all of them right here: walking, running, jumping. And you have to know the different like components of the different fundamental movement patterns. So what is at the beginning stage, intermediate, advanced? So you do need to know that, as well as then, for instance, like does it go from creep, crawl, walk, walk, jog, run, or how? What's the version? How does it go in order? So it's a lot of 325. And then I've seen a lot of adaptive physical education things of the laws and things that way. All right, let me get way down here because that's where I thought they were. Maybe I didn't put it on there. Okay, I haven't gotten that far, sorry. But anyway, there's questions in here. Maybe there's some questions in here, I do know that. The study companion is a different one. And then there is a book that I did recommend. So if you got that book, you can also look there. But this is a study companion for the test. And I just want to buy some. Okay, so for instance, the best choice of available fitness test for a teacher to use to assess students with disabilities is the what? Anybody know?
What?
What was
20,
it?
21. Which one's the answer?
I don't know. Where are we reading this?
Can you see number 21, the PDF file?
No.
No.
Oh,
You're prepping for the praxis.
okay, you can't even see the PDF. Okay, never mind then.
Okay.
I don't know why you can't see it. Well, the question, like an example question, I'll just tell you then. The best choice of available fitness test for a teacher to use to assess students with disabilities is and then A is Brockport Physical Fitness Test, B is Fitnessgram, C is President's Challenge, and D is Activitygram.
Brockport.
Correct. Good job.
Hey.
Okay, so there's some things like that you'll know. Way to go, Shelby. But there may be other ones. I found one in the practice exam. I had no clue what the answer was. So I would really recommend looking at a few of these because I had never even heard of some of the concepts. But then you kind of, narrow it down to a couple things that you've heard of. But again, like here's another question. Which of the following is the best example of a target game? Basketball, lacrosse, bocce, or badminton?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Oh.
It would be a target. Well, no, it'd be bocce.
Bocce ball.
Bocce ball. Yep, sorry. Bocce ball because of the target. So that goes with the Teaching Games for Understanding model. Okay, since you can't see the PDF that I'm talking about, I would encourage you to, can you see the prepping for the Praxis 2?
Yeah.
Okay, what I was reading off of was that first thing that says Praxis 2 Physical Education Study Companion. That's where those questions were coming from. Okay, and then I'll continue to add some there. All right, so that is your first assignment. So you're going to be working through that, and again, it is due a little bit earlier than planned. I think I said was that right? 6th. Okay, so again, I'll put that up for the changes. All right, then the next assignment. Any other questions on Praxis?
Nope.
All right. With the Praxis, I forgot to tell you this part. Those that are online, you all are probably going to choose the first option, but it's up to you. What basically all of you have to do is either take the Praxis 2 and pass it, or I'm going to have an actual, like a pretend test that's on Canvas in the testing version, and you have to get an 80% or better, and then or 88% or better, and then you pass. And then if you don't get it that first time, then you can try it one more time. Otherwise, you get an incomplete until you do pass it. Okay, so you have two options, but I just want to make sure that you're super prepared for that Praxis 2. And so some of you may want to take it right away, others may not. Like Nikki, if you're planning on going and actually teaching in California, you need to look at the Praxis 2 scores for California because it'll be higher than Nebraska, because Nebraska has almost the lowest scores out there. So I can show you how to do that. Or if anybody else is looking to go out of state and you're wanting to take the actual Praxis 2 test for this class, let me know and I can help you out. But what I have here is the scores 160 and 151, depending on which test you have to take. Those are the Nebraska passing scores. Okay. All right. So then going back to the assignments. Next one then I'm going to talk about is the cover letter and resume. And a lot of you probably already have this done, but I want to make sure that you're looking stellar and ready to go. So basically what you're going to be doing for this assignment is you're going to develop a cover letter and a resume for a potential position that you want, or it can be a pretend one, or it could be one that you're actually going to be applying for. And then you're going to develop your resume, and then in the module that says cover letter and everything, you have to compare your resume with the resume critique checklist, because that's going to be what I use to check to see if you have elements that you should have in a resume. Okay? And then in addition, you need to contact 3 individuals and use the protocol I listed for a reference. Lots of times, my biggest pet peeve is to get a call and I'm a reference for somebody that never even told me I was a reference for them. So when you are asking about, will you be a reference? They could be a reference, but they could give you a negative one. Instead, you should be asking, would you be willing to be a positive reference for me? And using the word positive or something along those lines then means that if they say yes, then they're going to write you a good letter of recommendation instead of just a mediocre one that just says, yeah, they're okay. Because you want to have somebody that you actually think is an okay one. Then with those references, JP will actually be calling one of them just to check to make sure that you actually called them to see if they could be used as a reference. Okay, so to get more information about the parts in there, again, there's prepping for the interview, there's materials, and then interview 101. That information is right there. And that will be information then that's going to be helpful for you to get your cover letter and resume done. So for instance, I have questions that could be answered. I have examples there. Everybody has different ways that they like to have their resume or cover letter. And so I have a couple different things, some buzzword ideas, stuff like that. Okay. And then information about references. Now the other component that you saw in there is not an assignment, but you will be needing to use it at a later date, is preparing for the interview. And the interview 101, that's your other assignment besides the final portfolio. So I'm going to start here with a module. And basically, it's going to help you develop your final project, but then also get you ready for your mock interviews. And so there are some position statements that you should be aware of, and then a few other interview questions that you're going to need to be understanding to be ready for your interview. I did also talk a little about what to wear to an interview, and we'll go in more detail with that when we get closer to those mock interviews. Okay, so I'm going back over to my assignments. And then there's that last one that says preparing for the interview. And what I'm having are people from the community. They'll come in. You're going to be actually dressed up, and you're going to be ready to present yourself at like it's an actual interview. And so you need to answer these following questions prior to the actual mock interviews. And since can you see that piece of paper I just brought up, or you can't see anything else?
No.
Okay, if you have your Canvas open, there's interview questions, and there are 25 questions that you have to answer how you would answer in like an interview. So like the first question I want you to answer would be, tell us a little about yourself. And then I say when they ask this question, they want to hear things like, what's your background, why you want to be a teacher, that kind of stuff, your teaching experience. Okay, so then it goes on to like what type of curricular model would you like to teach? So I'm just giving you ideas of types of questions that you may see in the actual time when you are out in the field. And so you'll That's the assignment, is basically you're going to be writing out answers that you're going to be using for the mock interview, as well as hopefully when you go out and do your own interview. Okay, then any questions on those two things, cover letter, resume, or the interview assignments?
No.
Okay. Then the last thing, if you would click on modules, I don't have it as an assignment link because it's an actual tangible document that you're going to make. If you end up wanting to do this like on Google Drive or something along those lines, you're welcome to do that. Instead, you're just going to need to talk to me. And so what you're going to be doing is developing a portfolio that you're going to bring with you to the interview. And so these are the components that you're actually going to have in this portfolio. And then you can add more if you want to, but these are the bare minimums. Okay, so again, you're going to start with a title page and table of contents, your teaching philosophy, your resume. So really a lot of this is, you're going to have this already, but it's just putting it into one place. So one, you can find it, and then two, you can showcase yourself. All right. So that is basically what the remainder of this class is. And so the next time that we meet, we're going to do it Zoom. And I'm going to have teachers from across the state that have that are first-year teachers or have just moved to a different job, so they can tell you about what the interview process is like, what happens after you get the job. So then, like, what types of paperwork, their biggest concerns, things that they struggled with, that kind of thing. So that'll be, for the most part, what our time together is, and then the rest of it is going to be working on these different projects on your own. And so if you have questions, concerns, things like that, you're going to need to come tell me or come talk to me, because, again, a lot of the time that we're going to share, because we only have less than 50 minutes every month, is going to be with actual people instead of me just lecturing to you. Sound like a plan?
Yes.
Okay, so that is it for tonight. So again, if you have questions, please let me know. If something is not making sense, let me know, because again, this is the first round of having this course, and so I want it as beneficial as I can for you. I know it is a 1-hour course, and so some of these assignments might be a little bit bigger, but at the same time, that's all you're doing for this class too. Alrighty, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and thank you for listening.